There isn't really any one category into which all viral video fits, is there? I mean, it's just, you know, so, and then as Kai was saying, if someone could wave the magic wand and decide what's going to go viral and what isn't, it would be, you know, the golden era. But Kai, you were saying that you decided that you were going to go this route with your film about the blind motorcyclist because you couldn't get you didn't want to go through the funding process. So do you see this as being like a shortcut, like using YouTube as an intermediate step to get full funding for a documentary? Was that in your mind at all?
Well, all doors are open. I don't know who's in the audience. I can't see. But no, I think that we decided that it was more important to have a little audience first than to have a contract drawn up with a distributor or a network, because it allowed us to just make the movie that we thought we should make without, I guess, you know, stipulations like it's got to fit inside a TV half hour, or you know, you can't touch on these themes, and we'd really like you to bring more of this out. And we just wanted to make a film that sort of provided a fair and maybe authentic account of what we were witnessing, without the distraction, I guess, of dealing with the funding relationship as a means to making the video. So we were able to sort of short-circuit it. And what's cool is having that sort of base audience that's basically people who know through a couple degrees of separation the folks who helped make the video and have a reason to watch it. And then I think you're in a much better position once you produce something to sort of show people what you're working on and what your style is, and then hopefully they want to help make it bigger or make the full film. And so that's the sort of very stripped down logic that we're working within. But there's also examples. Did anyone see that movie by the Uruguayan computer animator called, I think it was Attack de Panico, about the robots stomping into town? That was a $300 movie put together on this guy's PC, and it landed him this $30 million deal with Sam Raimi directing. And there is no premise, there is no story. It was just impressive that this guy had this sort of level of efficiency, that he could make something with this kind of ambition and scope and vision for $300. And $30 million is actually really cheap by Hollywood monster movie standards. So
I wouldn't take $30 million, I tell you. I'd throw it right back in their faces.
Well, if Universal Studios comes up to you and says, "Hey kid, you work really cheap. We're going to give you Sam Raimi and $30 million. I mean, I think that's an interesting little lever that the guy had, which was that he put this video out and people just thought it was really cool that it was produced outside of the system, and that's why they passed it around, and that's what got him into that system. I don't know if that's really the fairy tale ending, but that's definitely one way that people have used online distribution, is to try to leverage distributors.
Dark side to the do-it-yourself video movement, in the sense that it is going to cut into traditional news gathering sources. And, you know, like, the amateurs are going to take over to our detriment. Is that possible?
I wouldn't be the guy to ask about the dark side of user-generated content. I think that the paradigm is shifting, to make a bold prediction, I guess, that's been stated elsewhere. I don't think that traditional media models are going to last much longer if they don't adapt. And they're already trying, and this is one way of saving money, but I don't think they fully understood what it is that's happening. And they're still trying to basically fit these efficiency models into a growth model that will allow them to continue to profit and expand, basically. The kids who are shooting video in Tahrir Square are not doing it for profit. People are not uploading iPhone videos of people being beaten with batons or shot with rubber bullets because they're trying to, you know, get a freelancer's fee for that video. They're not down and risking their lives because they're trying to deliver to their shareholders. And so I think that user-generated content may be a sort of cynical way to look at it from the position of people who have to have those meetings with their boards and shareholders. But for the people who are actually making the videos, their motivations are very different. And so I think that if you can sort of accept that shift and accept the fact that online video doesn't have to be monetized, that it doesn't have to be something that you do any better than break even on, then it kind of frees you up to a whole new realm of creativity.
Our panelists are three-dimensional panelists. About yes. Dr. Tung's 3D Husk panelists. Tara, I'll ask you. How do you feel about is there a dark side to user-generated content? Do you think?
No, the way I see it right now, I don't think so. I think that the more user-generated content we have, the better. Like, Occupy Wall Street is a perfect example of that, where for the first week or 10 days or whatever, if you were going by what the mainstream media was saying, you were getting not anywhere close to an accurate story. So in that case, user-generated content brought us the truth quicker. And I think that the more that infiltrates the mainstream media, the healthier the mainstream media will be. Although I know that there's probably a lot of journalists in here, and I respect that argument of good journalists should be paid, and I agree with that, but I think they're kind of two different conversations. Yeah. So
How do you feel?
I like this. Yeah, it's very close to the heart of the matter, I think. Is there a dark side to user-generated content? Yes, there is. And I'm in with the dark side. I'm part of the 1%. Who doesn't blame my shit on other people. Sorry, just thought I'd slip that in somewhere. Yeah, from the week that the spiders thing went viral, money started pouring out of the sky. Right? I never had the old set of problems again. But the most interesting part is it was completely unconnected. See, like what I was saying about the aversion to corporate culture in YouTube kids, for example. When they sent me the letter saying, oh, monetize, I said no, I didn't want to pop up ad in the middle of the experience because the experience is already working.
I'm going to turn to our representative, our official representative of the man, and that's Peter Marshall. On behalf of the man, Peter, how do you feel about the issue of, is there a dark side to letting amateurs take over? Are you going to crowd out the people who want to make a living at it?
No. And I think that mainstream media has its problems in believability because of the corporate structure and everything we're hearing now.
Hey, you don't sound like the man.
Well, and but you also have to be aware of the content that you're getting. It's the point of view, and anybody who, if you're just doing it in the video for pleasure, and you happen to be at some place and you record it or you do it and you put it up there and it goes viral because of all these reasons, that's one thing. But you can consciously, if you understand the key factor in video is editing, montage, how to put two pieces of film together to get an emotion. And if you understand that process, you then can change things for the good or for the better. And that's up to the video maker.
Let's get to some questions. You had a question, sir?
Yes, thank you. Do you think that...
This is a question for you, Sean. Okay, here's the mic.
Do you think that the role of viral video in politics will evolve at all with the U.S. elections coming up, and what might that happen in Canada in terms of more calls to action or more politically involved viral videos?
I think certainly the political parties will put a lot of more budget into producing that sort of content. I think we'll see a lot of somewhat scale. I don't know if you're familiar with the Citizens United versus the FTC with the Supreme Court decision in the summer of 2010 that now lets corporations spend as much money as they want to influence elections, and they don't have to say who's paying for the advertisements. So I think there'll be a lot of viral videos that are actually being paid for by huge corporate lobbyists, and that's kind of creepy. But But I also like the trend that's emerging of sort of people inspired by the Occupy Wall Street movement, like infiltrating public political events and hijacking them to make their own videos. I think that's kind of an interesting phenomenon. So maybe from both sides it'll be happening.
So I guess what you're saying is there is no formula for viral videos. That's unfortunate to hear. Unless there's any further tips, but I have a different question. There seems to be a certain kind of platform we have right now with YouTube and everything like that. That's just sort of has evolved out of over time, and it's not necessarily the best platform. I'm wondering if any of you would know where our platform for presenting these sort of things might go in the future. Because I'm sure there will be an evolving of YouTube or maybe something brand new that arrives for presentation of such things. So
that's an interesting
thoughts
idea.
On that?
What do you think? Is there going to be a next generation YouTube? Is something going to come along, you think? Kai, do you want to start with that?
Well, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google runs on servers, and servers run on coal power, and you need a lot of coal burning to power a lot of servers to allow people to upload videos with that kind of efficiency. There's a reason why the biggest name in the game, and Vimeo, has tried to challenge them, but the point is that they're also there to make money, and people can try to sort of subvert that, or you can try to upload content that you think ultimately defies that system, but it's reliant on the same kinds of contradictions, I guess, that some of us might find troubling in other parts of life. So I don't know whether you could really do an open source video sharing service because it's so capital intensive. To have that kind of space up and running, those kinds of centralized server banks is just, it's not really tenable, and there's a reason why nobody's challenged them. I do think that we might see a move towards more decentralized networks, I guess, more unstable, but also less resource intensive and potentially harder to shut down if ever a decision were made in a period of serious civil unrest, for example, to shut down a certain website like youtube.com or certain sections of the internet if people did feel like this was contributing to social upheaval, I guess. So I think that people are working on this. I know people are working on ways to kind of decentralize it, and that's motivated basically by a need to make online video sharing more resilient and sustainable. But I haven't seen any models yet or heard of anything that I think is a really promising replacement for the current models.